And guys, before we get started, just a quick reminder. You can find timestamps in the description to easily navigate through the topics in this video. Also, feel free to use the link in the description to send me a video request or schedule a time to chat with me. Women are starting to panic as men avoid them in society. Today's video comes from SA Reactions. His channel will be linked in the description so you can check him out and support him. And I mean, guys, this was bound to happen. Watching this video to fully understand the implications of men avoiding women in society, why women are starting to panic, and how this is going to affect women going forward. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
False allegations can, and often do, result in job loss, not to mention difficulty finding employment in the future. Most businesses fear being associated with or viewed as being supportive of the accused, so they will let them go. One study by the Innocence Project found that 75% of those alleged to have committed abuse or SA lost their jobs as a result of the allegation. And later, even if they've been fully exonerated, they'll have difficulty getting a job because things like arrests and indictments will show up in background checks. This is despite the fact the charges were later dropped or found to be completely false.
And that is why today, men no longer feel comfortable working with women because they know at any second, all it takes that woman to say is, I didn't like the way he smiled at me. He made me feel uncomfortable. Just these little words can destroy what took a man 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on their age, 40 years to build. And women today in 2024, women still don't get it. Women still don't understand why men are starting to avoid them at work. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we are going to talk about in today's episode. Hello, welcome to Reactions and Reviews. I'm your humble host, Eze. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Women are still navigating the effects of the male-dominated workplaces a year and a half after the rise of the Me Too movement. Now, that's according to a new study by leanin.org. That's an organization dedicated to helping women achieve their goals. It found, and these numbers are very troubling, 60% of male managers say they are uncomfortable interacting with women at work. And that's up 32% from 2018. Workplace interactions that men are nervous about include mentoring, socializing, and having one-on-one meetings with women. Sheryl Sandberg, Leanin's founder and Facebook's chief operating officer, is with us first on CBS This Morning with a look at the survey's results.
Well, we're in a bad place. So 60% of male managers in the U.S., 60% are afraid to have a one-on-one meeting with a woman.
How do you get promoted without a one-on-one meeting?
No one's ever gotten promoted without a one-on-one meeting. I feel confident in that. Senior men right now are 9 times more likely to hesitate to travel with a woman and 6 times more likely to hesitate to have a work dinner. And the problem is that even before this, women, and especially women of color, do not get the same amount of mentoring as men, which means we're not getting an equal seat at the table. And, it's not enough to not harass us. You need to not ignore us either.
Hold on. Did you guys just notice what this... Wow, I can already tell she's a feminist. Just by those 2 words she just said, I can already tell she's a feminist.
So, it's very interesting. And that kind of illustrates the situation with Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg no longer works at Facebook. She was the former chief operations officer or president, same thing. And she worked at Facebook, and basically she took a lot of flack after Me Too and the whole lean-in bullshit. Because a lot of women were told that they could do everything, they could be boss babes, they could rule the world. And a lot of women went down this path and they found themselves in situations of poverty, despair, and destitution. And she was heavily blamed for this. All right? This woman is a billionaire or damn near a billionaire. And this is the type of thing that she's putting out there to women who do not have those social safety nets to fall back on. She already has her family. She already had her children. Her husband passed away. She went and found another man. Most women cannot pull something like that off because most men are not looking to go and get into a relationship with a single mom. This is absolutely insane. Another point that she seems to ignore is the fact that people help other people that they like. If I don't like you, I have no incentive to help you. If I'm afraid of you, why am I going to help you? So she said, it's not just enough not to harass us, but you have to ensure that we are being treated fairly and giving a helping hand. Why am I going to help someone who I'm afraid of? Why am I going to help someone that I'm actively avoiding, all right, that I can't talk shit to? Like, this is how people make friends. You make friends by talking shit to your friends. You become friends by making jokes with your friends. Okay? This is just how friendship works. And there's always going to be a dynamic between males and females. It just comes with the territory. Unfortunately, a lot of women are in their masculine energy, and they don't like most men. Most women do not like most men, but most women have high demands of most men. So the same men that they do not like, the same men that they hate, are the same men that they also expect to help open doors for them, but then they condemn these men for also holding the door. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So why would a man want to sacrifice everything that he's built just to help someone who ultimately hates him, while telling him that he's the reason why everything is bad in the world? I dropped an article, and I'll link the article in the description. It's titled Chilling and Gaming. Men are in their soft guy era and women are pissed. And we're going to show you just how pissed off women are. Because, it says that men in this era expect their partners to take on the role of provider, paying the bills, and even treating them to shopping sprees. It's a stark contrast to the expectations placed on men in previous generations. These men are no longer willing to settle for less and are demanding more from their relationships. And boy, oh boy, did people get pissed off. Did women immediately get pissed off when they saw this post? Even women who I thought were friends. One of the few active female subscribers on this channel, she's actually a bit more recent, Scorpia. She usually posts very insightful things. I thought that she was a pretty decent person. And then she made a response to this post, which literally said, yes, please leave women alone. Play and marry each other, right? And of course, there were some responses to it. Josh says, I see the wrinkles. This conversation isn't for you. And Opie says, yes, leave poor women alone. If you can't afford a house by 30, then you can't afford to be a mother or deserve to be one. Like, how is a woman supposed to treat me right as a man if she can't even afford a house by 30? So immediately these men are playing it and putting it back on them, because women are out here making these crazy demands of men when they themselves can't actually provide anything. And the very moment that a man stands up and says, listen, I want value given to me, they turn around and they get pissed off and throw a hissy fit. This was a very reasonable woman. Initially, she would respond very reasonably to my post about Gen Z, and she'd provide insight. But the moment she saw a post like this, she immediately began questioning our sexuality as men for walking away and saying that we want to be treated well, and saying that we need to go and marry each other. They become extremely childish. But what's interesting is that another woman responded to her, who is another regular poster on the channel. Again, one of the very few regular female posters on the channel. Another one of my subscribers, Jay Hall, we only have a handful of female subscribers on the channel that we regularly hear from. There's Kathy, there's Mayumi. Kathy is the OG, Mayumi is the queen, and and then we have a few new people, and like Jay Hall. And she basically responded directly to the comment I just read to you guys, and she responded to this lady, and she said, ah, yes, the lovely feminist point of view. Leave women alone. I don't need a man. I'm a woman, and I find feminism disgusting. Sure, my existence doesn't require a man to continue living, but it sure did require one for me to exist in the first place. And furthermore, I love and respect men. I chose to marry an older man. He worked and provided for me and my children till he could no longer. So as his helpmate, I took on jobs, and the money is our money, just as it was when he was provider. And though he helps around the home, I don't ask him to do it, and I don't begrudge him when he doesn't. he knows he doesn't, but that I do appreciate it. I still come home and cook dinner and clean our home. Not because I'm mad or feel he should have, but because I want to, as his wife, I want to do this as his wife to show him he is respected, appreciated, and loved. I tell him all the time to relax. It's his time to sit back and be catered to. Women have taken for granted the men who have taken on the stress and burden they didn't have to. They have forgotten their role as women, and shamefully so. Women today look back at the women in the 50s and 60s as if they were slaves to men, and oh, how wrong they are. Women were not slaves, they were not oppressed. They were, in fact, empowered and played a very important role. But like all power, it always seeks for more and more, till one day it self destructs. And given the state we are in, I'd be so as to inclined to say they uh, to say the self destruction is well underway. And it's amazing how, every so often you'll run into a woman who realizes exactly what's going on. And of course, most of these women are married women who have actually been there with their husbands. They want to be in a relationship. They're grateful to be in a relationship. And the longer that they've been in relationships with their husbands, the more they have learned to respect their husbands, see the sacrifices that their husbands make for them and their families, and value them. To be very honest with you, a lot of women, if they were in this woman's shoes, after that man had sacrificed everything for that family, they would have divorced this old man. They would say, I'm tired of this old man now. They would have divorced him and tried to take whatever they could out of the relationship. I'm just being completely honest. They would have tried to get it, scrape out whatever they could they're like, I'm gonna get this old man out of here. I'm gonna go back to the streets, go find myself, a young guy, and mess around with that young guy and have some fun with the young guy or the young guys. And I'm just gonna start over and start living my life. Like this is the next chapter. That's what a lot of women would absolutely do. So I'm really grateful that there are still some women who are realistic and mindful and practical. Because most women today are not practical. Most women today would head straight back to the streets the moment that the man could not work. But as you can see, a lot of women, for their default is to immediately go to shaming language, to begin shaming men immediately and trying to tear them down. As soon as they say that we're not going to tolerate it anymore, and if you want something, you're going to have to provide value. Women are this is how modern women operate. The moment that they know that men are no longer playing along, they basically go to juvenile shit and start trying to destroy these men and slander them and question their sexuality. Even though they're the first group of people to say that they are supportive of gay men, they immediately start tearing down heterosexual men and saying terrible, things, suggesting that men are gay when there's nothing wrong with being gay. But it's only if you're a heterosexual man who doesn't want to give women what they want that they're going to basically start to question your sexuality. And they say these same women will also then turn around and say that, oh, I'm not trying to say I have plenty of gay friends. I love gay people, but our comments are not designed to insult them. In other words, their comments are designed to their comments are designed to degrade, dehumanize, and humiliate the heterosexual men that they are targeted towards. Do you see how corrupt these individuals are? All right. And then they wonder why, guys, they're only pushing men further into soft guy era. They think that this is going to change the behavior of men by shaming, because they don't know how to get a man. They don't know how to compete for a man. The hatred of men is something so deeply embedded in women. It's a seed that was given from the time of birth, that was given water and sunlight, and it grew throughout their entire bodies and beings. So now that they're adults, there's no way of getting rid of it. It's a part of them. It's in their arms, it's in their legs, it's in their brains, it's in every fiber of their being. You cannot get rid of it anymore. All right? It's complete. It's a part of them and a part of their character. Just like that masculine energy. So they will never ever be effeminate. They will always be masculines. All right? They will always be masculines, and nothing is going to change that. So of course they're going to be angry. These women Half of all women in Western society come 2030 are going to be childless and single. And the ones who do, and then when you factor in the single mothers, you're looking at 70 to 90% of all women. 70 to 90% of all women. It's a disgrace, y'all. It's an absolute disgrace. And these women are basically setting up themselves for their own poverty, their own despair, because a lot of these women are going to end up in the streets, living in their cars, living in shelters. It's going to be hell on earth for these women. They're going to be living in extreme states of poverty. That's the future. That's what's going to happen. And they've created this entire mess for themselves, and men are not coming to their rescue. They absolutely are not.
Basically, in her own words, men, not only do you guys harass us, now you also ignore us. Those are the words that just came out of this feminist mouth. I can already tell this is going to be one of those videos that's going to take me off. Let's keep going.
Do you think they have cause to feel that way?
Well, I think it's a false trade-off. I think people can travel. I think people can go to dinner. I think people can have one-on-one meetings. All of those things can be done in public places, and everyone can behave appropriately. But if there's a man out there who doesn't want to have a work dinner with a woman, my message is simple. Don't have one with a man.
Yeah.
Group lunches for everyone. Make it explicit, make it thoughtful, make it equal.
And the reason why this troubles me so much is that if men are doing the right thing and they're behaving appropriately, they don't have to worry about any of this. They don't have to worry about being accused. You say men need to step up.
Men need to step up. We need to redefine what it means to be a good guy at work. It's not enough to not harass, and I think too many people think that's sufficient. That's necessary, that's a basic, but it's not sufficient. Women need equal opportunity.
Oh, shut up. Yes, I said it. I knew she was a feminist. So just shut your ass up. Man, this is ridiculous. This is straight up ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem. Women like her are the problem. They are the real reason things are worse in 2024 because they refuse to hold women accountable. You understand what I'm saying? She's acting like there's no such thing as false accusation. Like women don't lie on men. How many men, my brothers and sisters, have been ruined because of false allegation? And this lady right here is going to sit here and blame men without holding women accountable for their behavior. Like I said at the beginning of the intro, all it takes is one woman to get upset for whatever reason. She could be having a bad day at home with her man, with her father, with her mother, whatever the reason may be. She comes to work and you say the wrong thing that pisses her off. Guess what, brother? Your career is over. Your life is over. You will lose everything. If you made it this far, hit that like button and leave a comment to trigger YouTube's algorithm. So hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to let you know every time I upload a new video.
One unpopular opinion that I have that can make people wanna me is women that make false accusations about men when it comes to molestation, harassment, assault, all those things. Those women need to serve time in prison. I did not say that they should pay a fine. I said they need to serve time. Go to prison. For those of you that want to say that I sound like a pick-me or whatever the case may be, I don't care about that. And the reason why I don't care about that is because it could be your brother, it could be your uncle, it can be your father, it can be your cousin, it can even be your grandfather, it can be any male figure that is significant in your life. You also need to understand that, one, there are women out there that are just straight grimy. They get mad at you, they want to get petty, they want to see you suffer, so they try to formulate those kinds of accusations to ruin your life. Women like that, why should we let them walk free? Another thing too is that it's not easy to say, I'm sorry. What is sorry going to do? You just ruined that man's reputation. Even if that man gets proven innocent, he can still get looked at crazy. People will still treat him differently because of your allegations. Lastly, there are many cases where it can take forever for someone to be proven innocent. What if it took 10 years? 15 years. It's one thing if you admit that you lied immediately after that man gets locked up. That's one thing. But there are some women that never come forward. And for that, how should you be punished? Because you need to be punished. There's no way. You cannot walk free after doing something like that. Ruining that man's life, ruining his reputation, messing up his family. And by the way, I'm talking about women that lie on purpose, not women that get the faces confused, because that happens sometimes. You know what? It should be like this. The longer you wait on purpose to confess, the harsher the punishment should be on you. Yeah.
Man, and may God continue to bless this sister. May God bless this sister. She is spitting facts.
You see, guys, any shift towards prosecuting women for false allegations would be very severe in Western society, because it has been so normalized, so many lives have been destroyed, that it would be absolutely catastrophic. For example, guys like Cosby, everybody knows that these women were fabricating things. At his trial, you had women show up there who were not a part of the trial, saying these things and making these claims. One of these women basically got onto the witness stand and admitted that she lied. She wrote a book where she made all of these claims that, Cosby did this and Cosby did that. She sat on the witness stand and admitted that she had lied about her encounter with Cosby, that the things that she wrote in the book were not true, and that she had written them there because she needed money. But just because the things in the book were not true doesn't mean that something didn't happen. Do you see how sick this is? These women went and they collected like hundreds of millions of dollars off this man. They destroyed his life. They destroyed his legacy. And the insurance companies paid out. The lawyers got tons of money. The state got tons of money. So what happens? What happens if there is a change in tide? This man has lost, 10 years of his life? He said that his best years ahead of him. This man lost the best year. Guys, there's no ton of time left. This is it for him. Like, he's cooked. Hopefully he can enjoy his time with his children, and hopefully he is, and whatever, but he's cooked. In that way, like, there's no career left for him. All right, going back into acting, he's like that's like, this is all a pipe dream. So what's supposed to happen to those individuals? Okay, what's supposed to happen with all of that money? What's supposed to happen with the insurance companies that paid out all of this money? All right, guys, the state itself would have to be held liable. What about guys like Weinstein? All right, that basically said that it was not coercion or anything. Basically, he just he said, okay, I'll give you a role in a movie if you spend a night with me. And then these women, they went to Harvey, they chilled with Harvey, then they went and had long careers in Hollywood. And after squandering the opportunity, they then turned around and said that, you know what, I retroactively withdraw my consent for what happened 20 or 30 years ago. It's crazy. What happens to these men? What happens to the lives of these men? How do you ever compensate these men? How do you compensate some of these men who are billionaires, who lost billions of dollars? How do you compensate guys like the Rick and Morty creator who got fired from Cartoon Network over some claim that a ex-girlfriend made, and then it turns out he was completely exonerated afterwards. Completely exonerated. He lost his job at Hulu. He lost his job producing a show at Hulu. He lost his job on Rick and Morty. He lost everything, despite the fact that it was proven that she lied. And now he's still actively working to regain his name like he did something wrong. What happens in our society to these, when society shifts against women for this type of behavior? The truth of the matter is that the outcome would be so catastrophic for women. It would be absolutely catastrophic for women, because women are used to getting away with things. They're used to the system allowing them to say, oh, because this is what the police say every time. It turns out that it's a false allegations. The cops will step out and they'll say, we thoroughly investigated this and we found that the claims were not substantiated, or in this case, the person lied. And we want all women to know that they are safe to come forward and tell their stories. So even though this man's life was destroyed, and they use the same language, we want women to feel safe and know they can still come forward. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me, guys. It would basically, if society began shifting gears and prosecuting women who lie and destroy the lives of men, like Johnny Depp. His entire life was destroyed. The UK court found him guilty, and he had to hire a giant legal team. He had to get like the Jedi Knight to come and represent him and to pull this shit off. Okay, and Camila, and to go and defeat Amber Heard. And in the end, everyone knew she lied. And people found out that he was actually the victim. Like, she threw a bottle and which severely damaged his finger. Like, he was the victim in the relationship. There's a tape of her saying, "Johnny, no one will ever believe you. No one will ever believe you, Johnny. No one will ever believe you." Imagine that. And after the whole case and the whole trial, his reputation was rebuilt. Thank God. But his career never came back, and evidently he still has like a brand deal with some cologne or something, and so he's making some money still, and he's doing all right. But his career in Hollywood is over. What I do think though that's going to happen, and there's a possibility of this, is as AI is taking off right now, new tools are coming. Guys, people are beginning to produce animes, even basic stuff. I can actually do some stuff. I have the stuff put down, but like I can basically produce very like short little animes right now, and this technology is becoming more and more normalized. What happens when average people start creating this type of stuff? What happens when average people have the technology to begin creating Hollywood level productions, and creating movies and stuff like this? Guys, what happens when they hire someone like Johnny Depp as a voice actor again? So that's one of the big things, guys. Like, Hollywood is beginning to crash and burn. Like, DEI is destroying the tech industry. It's destroying the movie industry. It's destroying the gaming industry. All of these companies are now crying about diversity, equity, inclusion. They're lashing out at the consumer because the consumer is no longer spending money on DEI bullshit. And the CEO of Disney goes, "I don't think people even understand what woke actually is," right? And then Microsoft, they fired their entire diversity, equity, inclusion staff. Square Enix, they basically they were colluding with Sweet Baby Inc., this feminist propaganda network that was pushing wokeism and feminism in games. They're all like, all of these companies are running away from Sweet Baby Inc. Ubisoft is now delaying games and saying that, saying to investors that we're not trying to push an agenda, but obviously they've been trying to push an agenda. Look at what happened to Concord. Concord has cost Sony $400 million just in development costs. That does not count marketing or distribution. Sony's probably may never reveal I say they may never reveal the total amount of money they've lost, but that's not true, because they're going to have to try to write this shit off, and as much as they possibly can. I don't know if they're gonna I don't really think they can rebrand Concord. Maybe they can try. The smartest thing to do would be to walk away from that. The whole damn thing needs to be scrapped. And the actual, when you count in the marketing budget, distribution for these games, that could be another $200 to $300 million. That could be a substantial amount of money, because they had gone all in for this thing. So when you consider those factors, this thing could even be as high as 600 to 700 million dollars in terms of the total loss. So closer to $1 billion, and a lot of people to come. Like, I personally think that the next generation of games, and it could happen even before then. Sony could do it even before then. But I do think that, like, for the PlayStation 6 era, prices of games are going to go up to $79, so $80 per game. And they're just going to say that it's inflation now, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Oh, you want to play the latest Black Myth Wukong? That's $80. You want to play and here's another thing. The games that have been selling well this year have all been games that have basically pushed away woke messages. Stellar Blade, Black Myth Wukong, which banned feminist propaganda. Games like this are thriving. Okay? And evidently Square Enix that was colluding with Sweet Baby Inc., removing gender from their games. They've now fired Sweet Baby Inc. because it's resulted in them losing hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're now in such terrible financial turmoil that the company may end up needing to sell itself. Like, this is hilarious. I hope all of these companies die. I'm being very honest with you. I supported these companies for so many years, for so long, only for them to do this shit. Like, I feel like I feel like I refuse to buy a PlayStation at this point. I don't want to give them my money. If I have to, if I have to buy a digital license for a game, because that's what you're doing, you don't actually own the game when you buy a game digitally. You're paying for a license. If I have to do that, I'll purchase everything on Steam. I've been buying everything on Steam. I really enjoy Steam, and I plan to keep on using Steam in that way. So that's just how I think regarding that situation. But it's just crazy watching now how everything is beginning to implode for everyone pushing on the diversity, equity, and inclusion bullshit messaging. Yeah.
Because there is no accountability. Women don't face prison. They don't go to jail. All they do is they just come out and say, I lied, or I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. And that is it. That is it. But that man is ruined forever. Forever. You understand what I'm saying? And because women do not suffer or face any consequence of their false allegations is the reason you have fucking enablers like this lady right here, walking around talking this rubbish, talking this nonsense, enabling women to continue to destroy men with false allegations.
Now, what do you guys think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Either way, leave your comments below so we can start this conversation.
Guys, just want to remind you to check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse, dive into exclusive podcasts, manosphere topics, and more. Free subscribers get full access to chat, videos, podcasts, and all blog posts. Paid subscribers unlock unlimited access to everything, including exclusive guides and blueprints for building wealth and thriving. Support the channel by becoming a paid subscriber for just $8 per month. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to subscribe now and claim your free passive income blueprint. What do you guys think regarding this entire ordeal, this entire situation? Women are panicking as men avoid them in society. And to be very honest, they did this to themselves. They made this decision. They said, guys, we don't like you. Stay the hell away from us. So now men are just basically listening. And this is only going to lead to increased amounts of poverty and destitution among women because women were not designed to live without a husband. But guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments and we'll talk about it there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away, and cheers.